Happy Memorial Day weekend. We're going to do a quick update today on the ceiling. It's Saturday about lunchtime, and we're just about done the ceiling, but I've held off on a couple of the outside strips so that we can finish up. Today we're going to finish up the electrical, get that connected, so we can start to put this weekend, start putting the things, the second floor, the support walls, get the basement in, and or the garage, and start installing stuff into the van. Just wrapping up these infrastructure pieces. What I wanted to go over with you quick today, a quick update, is the ceiling and where we're at with that. I didn't completely finish the ceiling, but I've just driven around with the ceiling like it is all week, because I wanted to see with the change. When I started putting the ceiling in last week, it was really humid. It really dried out this week, and today it's lunchtime on Saturday and it's the low 90s and a really humid day today, and you can just feel it in the air. So I just want to see what this Cedar Tongue and Groove will do. The Cedar Tongue and Groove is only 1/4 inch, so it's going to be affected by the changing in the humidity. So I kind of wanted to see, before we completely button this up, what's going to happen, what are things we need to deal with. So let me take you on a walkthrough and show you where we're at and what we'll be doing next. So as you can see, we put the ceiling in. We've got our holes drilled for our puck lights. We'll have 2 back here. We're going to have 2 midship and 2 in the forward section. Now, one of the things we did is I left these 2 on this same board, same here. But in the back, we moved them out a board, just given where we'll be sitting, and to see, make sure the light is going to be shining appropriately. So these 2 back here are separated a little bit, and then the 2 sets going forward are on the same board. You can see with the humidity, well, this isn't just the humidity, you can kind of see the tongue and groove here is bending up. Some of that is the pressure. Some of this pressure, if you look, let me come back here and show you. I'll put the camera up here. You can kind of see the curve in the wood, and with the roof of the van, what's making that curve. And in the forward part of it, as it curves down, it's taking this piece in here between this ceiling strap and that ceiling strap and pushing it up. So one of the things we'll have to do, because of the trim we'll put in around this fan, is I'm going to put some backer board up here to push down and flatten this out a little bit. Not much, but just enough to flatten it out, where I can screw in the trim that will go up into the van. I'll have to take a cutoff wheel, just trim this piece out here a little bit to make that the nice, there's a white trim piece that goes with this van to have this fit in there appropriately. These pieces up here, I think we're obviously going to have to start cutting them back. They're really bending down with the insulation up there, so we'll have to start watching that. And the one thing we did run into with this is you have to be careful when you're painting these is drips that go into the groove. Because this is such thin tongue and groove, those tongue and grooves really need to be clean. So there was a couple boards that, 2 things. A, you have to really make sure you're using the straightest boards in the lot. And B, you have to also make sure that the grooves and the tongue are clean, because that just makes a world of difference as to how these go in. You'll see in this strip right here with this ceiling strap, this was the piece where they all met. And what I'm going to end up doing is taking a piece of trim and putting it across here. Because this is so thin, it's really tough to get these in. What I should have done is pre-drilled some of these holes, use a little soap on the screw to give me a little lubricant to get up in there without staining the wood. I didn't really do that because I figured, I'm going to put a piece of trim up here, and rather than bolting these all in, it'll give them a little movement, but it'll still give it a nice look. Some of the things you can start to see happening, you can see here, these 2 here are kind of coming apart a little bit. This one has come apart a little bit just from some of the movement. And what I'll do back here is I'm going to put a faceboard to make a nice arc in this ceiling, where you know, this just has a nice even arc to it, and we'll have a piece of trim there that'll deal with that. So that's kind of how the ceiling has come out so far. We've got about 6 more pieces that need to go, 3 on this side and 3 on this side. But again, because of these holes in the fan, I'm going to do all the electrical first, and then we'll button up the remainder of those boards and trim that piece in. So today, what I'm going to do is be soldering connections together. Because of the fact we use 12 gauge wire and some of these other wires, like with the fan, this is, I don't know what this is off the top of my head, but it feels, it's probably close to maybe an 18 gauge wire. So because of the differences in the gauge of the wire, instead of just using wire nuts, I'm going to solder them together to the devices and the connections. Just give me a tighter connection, put some shrink wrap over them, and make them nice and permanent. Get all the electrical buttoned up today and down in here, and I'll video that and I'll report back out on that at some point. Put the dimmer switches in, get that all tested so we can start to get the internals of the van in. You can see also I do have the solar panels plugged into the Goal Zero Yeti 1400, running out my extension cord out there, and because it's a nice bright sunny day, I figure instead of charging the battery on shore power, we're going to take advantage of Mother Nature and use the solar. These panels are working out really nice, and we're really kind of stoked about that. So that's the status update today for Saturday morning and where we're at with the van. Really happy with the way this cedar has turned out for the ceiling. Again, it's 3.5 inch wide, 1/4 inch cedar. We got it at Home Depot. Looked at Lowe's. I couldn't find this thin stuff at Lowe's. I could only find it at Home Depot. And honestly, I found better wood selections at the Home Depot than we did at Lowe's. So, but this stuff it's pretty easy to work with. It gets a little difficult on these longer pieces when it makes the multiple bends. Then you just kind of have to really be patient, because you get down to one end and the other end pops out. But one of the things I did find, especially with these ceiling straps, is a pair of vice grips on the ceiling strap to hold that end in of the wood while you're working your way down very slowly and just kind of working it in. And again, the clean tongue and groove is really key with this stuff. So that really, those are kind of my tips on the ceiling and how that worked out. The hole saws we used was a 2 3/8 inch hole saw. And we're just using standard little puck lights with the spring load that hold them up in there that we got off of Amazon. And that 2 3/8 inch hole saw is actually perfect. I mean, it makes almost a machine fit tight hole for that light to fit right up in there, and we're really happy with that. So today we're going to finish up the electrical work. So this weekend we can start installing stuff. We've just signed up for the Asheville van rally in September on the weekend of the 21st. Hope to see some people out there. So until next update, this is Ken. Peace. We'll see you. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you like the content we're putting out, and consider sharing the video. We'll see you. Happy Memorial Day, everybody.